So with all of that, I'd like to introduce David Dries. David is the president and CEO of Dries Homes and vice chairman of the One NKY Alliance. He's been a long driving force in shaping our region's growth, bringing both business leadership and community vision to everything he does. He's going to lead us in our first session, leveraging our industry sectors, exploring how policy, infrastructure, and innovation can work together to strengthen Northern Kentucky's position as a hub for opportunity. Because at the end of the day, we are stronger, smarter, and better as one. So David, come on up.
I gotta get a new one, especially with my gray hair. It looked so old before. All right. You are doing the clicker, I guess?
I can.
Okay. Well, I didn't get the orientation. I didn't get here fast enough.
You're on the table.
I am uniquely capable. All right, leveraging our industry sector. So core to our goal of enabling Northern Kentucky's next phase of growth is to identify, support, and leverage those industry sectors that have the most potential to have the biggest impact towards embracing the vibrancy of Northern Kentucky and improving the quality of life of all its residents. It's important that our efforts are focused on a select few industries in order to improve our effectiveness and chances of success. So our success is also dependent on acting as one. Only by the alignment of all community organizations, resources working together towards a common goal can we be successful. Together, we need to pursue policies, provide resources, build necessary infrastructure, create a community culture, and a strong One Northern Kentucky brand that enables business to be successful and thrive. We need to make Northern Kentucky a great place to do business, a great place to grow your business, a great place to start up a new business, or a great place to relocate a business to. Of course, we also need to understand the specific needs of these select industries so that we can focus our efforts on the right things. So here with us today are 4 industry experts from our aerospace and life science sectors, so we may learn more about their industries. You will hear, you will hear, as part of this panel, you will hear real case scenarios on how growing companies can benefit our institutional assets. We will gain a greater understanding of their most important needs, and we will learn how to better utilize and grow our assets within these industries. So with that, I'm going to kick it off with Larry Crowder, our fairly new CEO of the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport. Larry?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Appreciate that. Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be in a room full of uncompromising optimists and determined partners. My story about Beltways actually precedes my tenure here. When I was serving as chair of the American Association of Airport Executives back in 2021 and 2022, I met this gentleman, and he was so effusive. He had this great idea that he wanted to change the landscape of urban mobility, and partially to do that through airports. And John and his brother presented themselves to me, and as chair, part of my responsibility was to figure out how can we get them plugged in. And at AAAE, we have a group called Airport Consortium on Transformation. And basically the idea behind that is to embrace leading edge technology, bring that into proof of concept testing in real world airport environments. And here I am, fast forward into 2025, reunited with John, who has come here and set up shop in Hebron. And we're working to bring this proof of concept to CVG. And without that innovation mindset and culture and infrastructure, John's idea would really be challenged to get off the ground, to use an aviation term, John. And I think as I'm going to turn it over to John, what I had said is that we exist in this really amazing corridor of commerce We have an innovation culture. We have incredible partners, an ecosystem for you to thrive in. But all innovation starts with inspiration. So John, can you start us off and tell us about the inspiration for Beltways?
Thank you so much, Larry. It's an honor to be here. So a few years ago, my brother and I left Apple and Fenwick in San Francisco to chase our dad's 40-year-old sci-fi dream. He envisioned a world where cities were built around people, not traffic. And now we share in that vision so that my kids, everyone's kids, can one day in cities walk as the fastest form of transit. And it's been an incredible journey, but one day accelerators may be commonplace as the elevator. And that starts here. We moved here with a dream, and we found an incredible community that supported us from day one. It's thanks to people like Larry, the KCAB, others in the community that have just shown so much support to a startup. And we hope that this story will attract many more. And they now have a home to do it. So next year at Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Airport, America's first high-speed accelerator will be live. And this entire community can come and experience it. This isn't just another airport project. It's a Kentucky-born innovation funded by Kentucky for Kentucky's largest airport. We've had a lot of big players that have tried to poach this pilot, but we've stayed true and loyal to this partnership with CVG. And it's because this community has believed in us and always supported us. I believe I was supposed to say something on policy. So, Candace also always said that, CVG is zip code agnostic, and I think that is a fantastic approach to economic development in this region. There are many bridges and no walls. So as long as we continue to see this region for what it is, everyone will benefit. So thank you to CVG and the community, and I look forward to meeting new friends.
Thanks, John. I'll just wrap up really quick, Karen, time-wise, just by saying that these types of situations are, for us, long-term relationships. We are investing together, and we have plans to continue to help John leverage this inspired idea that we think will be groundbreaking and leading in terms of passenger facilitation at airports across the world. And so it's not just, hey, it's a great idea, good luck to you. It's really providing the support and using our infrastructure to assist, as well as our staff capacity to assist. So in the future, you will see us at shows out in the international audience with Beltways, with the story, with the actual proof of how the concept works. And I will predict today that this will be one of the more transformational breakthrough ideas in airport facilitation that we will see in the next decade.
Wonderful.
Thank you,
Larry. Thank you, John. And so as we think about leveraging our industry sectors, we have the institutional asset, the existing asset through CVG, and a company that has been attracted to the region and is growing because of it. It is benefiting. So much in the same vein, the life sciences industry is really taking hold in the region, and especially in Northern Kentucky. So this session, in the same spirit, will explore the asset that we have through LifeSci KY, and also the connection to Gravity Diagnostics, a growing company in Northern Kentucky. So Kristen and Nick, please self-introduce, and we'll have you take it away.
Hi, everyone. Hello, testing. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kristen Godale, Executive Director of LifeSci KY. We're a new incubator here in Kentucky, not just Northern Kentucky, and we're leading the way for life sciences innovation across the Commonwealth. We do that by providing lab space, equipment, and community programming to all Kentuckians, and we do it confidently. I think resources that we're seeing in the region emerge are really spaces to do things. Space is so important to keep companies here and especially attract new ones. At LifeSci KY, we've closed a few companies, and all of them are not from here. One is from Houston, Texas. One is from Knoxville, Tennessee. And our other one's from Louisville, Kentucky, that is actually interested in coming up here full time instead of just expanding to Northern Kentucky. The rest of our pipeline, again, comes from elsewhere. We have stuff in our pipeline from Tokyo. We have others from Florida, and then who knows really what's next for us. But the driving force for anything in Kentucky is really just having a Kentucky first attitude. When we were building LifeSci KY, we were trying to figure out what our identity is. And market feedback we got from visiting other ecosystems across the country was that we were that Kentucky incubator. We're that Kentucky science thing that they're doing here in the Commonwealth that's funded by the state. And that's something we've really leaned into as LifeSci KY. Now, resources or acceleration, what we need to continue our momentum and grow this industry, I'd say here, doing it in Northern Kentucky, is community buy-in. All of the companies that we're still relocating or in the process of wanting to bring up here request community support. So with one of our examples, I can't reveal all investor names at the moment, but we were able to get community support from local VCs and other folks that believed in the company to actually bring it up here. We use our Stronger Together bench sponsorship mechanisms propelled by our business community to, again, provide small grants to come up here to Kentucky. And I think most importantly is introducing the companies to our region. That's one of the advantages of One NKY because we have everything under one roof, including tourism, economic development, education, and more. So one thing I always do when I bring a company up to Kentucky is introduce them to Gravity Diagnostics. Gravity Diagnostics, I think we really need to lean into more of their story efficiently because they actually came from a local incubator. They started off super duper small, and I don't know how many people they employ here now, but I know it's 200 or more. And entrepreneurs, when they come to the region, they want to win. And we boast about our community often, it's low cost, etc. But overall, they want to win. They want to sell their company, they want to build it. So Gravity Diagnostics is an excellent example of what we can do, and I'm going to hand it to Nick now to talk about one, where they started, and two, their upward trajectory, because they're not done yet.
How we doing? Nicholas Lichte, Chief of Lab Operations at Gravity Diagnostics. Thank you for the very kind words. I think it's an honor to be on stage with the group that I'm with because Gravity Diagnostics benefits from this local community, particularly with our infrastructure as well. Infrastructure-wise, a competitive advantage of ours is to be, the turnaround time is the biggest metric, being as fast and providing the same level of quality and details that other labs do. So being close to the airport, being close to UPS's World Hub, that is a huge strategic advantage for us. We get samples at 4:30 in the morning. That's hours before other labs, right? I mean, the earlier our day starts, the faster we get results to the people that need them, for the people patients that are being served through these different clinics. I had started at Gravity about 6 years ago. I'm a Long Island native, happy to have stumbled my way to this area, and I had a set career vision, ended up here because I kind of just wanted a year to take a chance, and I took a chance on a startup. I thought it'd be kind of fun. The company was about 30 people at the time. I was their first R&D scientist, so I was a single contributor at a 30-person company, and now we're over 300 people, and I have 250 direct reports, right? So in a short period of time, my life has changed dramatically, and that slide above my name that I had asked Karen to include, I might get in trouble from my CFO because it's an internal slide only that I shared externally, but I think that is the summary of Gravity's story. I don't need any words to describe that, right? That growth is real. That y-axis is real. And the growth trajectory that we had, that was this dramatic growth, doubling quarter after quarter, tripling quarter after quarter, that was during COVID. That volume does not include our COVID volume, which is how a lot of people in the region know us. So what we've done while we were in the midst of the chaos of the COVID pandemic was continue to invest in this region, continue to work with local partners like NKU, Thomas More, UC, UK. All of our employees are from these local institutions, right? So, and now you compare that with the work we're doing in collaborative with LifeSci KY, right? We're trying to help these companies that come in realize that Covington is a place to be. We have the infrastructure to support all different types of companies. And the growth at Gravity isn't stopping, right? I mean, we are still Kentucky first. Everything that we do is about expanding in Kentucky, and we're really proud of that, right? So the best is yet to come, so they say, and really thankful to be on this panel.
Well, thank you. And so you can see from aviation and aerospace to life sciences, there's a lot of things happening in Northern Kentucky that make it important for us to leverage our industry sectors. And so now it's your turn. And we have, like we said, table captains at each table. And we're asking you to engage with us through some guiding questions. Oh, first off, here are the table captains. And there are guiding questions that your contact will be taking you through. We really want to get your ideas. I will just say in 2022, when we did the Refuturing seminar, one of the things that propelled to the top that really wasn't on the agenda was the need to look at education. And within a year, we had incubated and launched Educate NKY. My point in bringing this up, there are no wrong ideas at the table. If you think it, please say it. You know, please share with your table members. And also, as we think about our 3 overarching goals that David talked about, think about where those fit in. We are one, we are the community of choice, and we hold ourselves accountable. 15 minutes, we'll be back to you at the end of that time. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, we have some great engagement going on. We're going to close this table session out. And if we could get everybody's attention, while we're doing that, I do want to recognize a couple more elected officials that came in, U.S. House Representatives Andy Barr and Boone County Judge-Exec Gary Moore. So welcome. So with that, we're going to ask for some call-outs. We're not going to get to everyone, but James and Ryan have roving microphones. Is there anybody that would like to share some of their insights from the table discussion?
I think one of the biggest things we had a discussion about was the housing needs in Northern Kentucky and how are we going to keep up with the growth that's been coming in here, how we're going to get the housing out there, whether it's multifamily, single family, but I think that's something that's going to be very important for us. And as that growth occurs and we get that housing, how do we move these people around?
Yeah.
You know, so we got lucky because, you know, we have a Beltways person right here, so we had a nice discussion. We're just going to put these on sidewalks. But thank you.
Great. Thank you, Tom. Who else? And then Ryan, Jenny over here.
So our table talked a lot about internet access, and we were talking about how wonderful it is that the counties have really, invested and have made sure that there is a plan for internet access. However, there was some concern as to even if there's access to it, is there digital literacy around that? Is there affordability for accessing it? So we're dealing with the infrastructure needs, but there are other wraparound services that we think are really important to make sure that seniors and also some folks that, as some folks here were saying, that only know how to access services on their phone, that they may need some digital literacy and some affordability access to actually obtain those.
Great comments, Lisa.
We talked about more trade schools post high school so that we could have more trades in the area. And another thing we talked about was light rail that went from airports to high populations. And then also that rail could go from one high population area to another high population area.
Thank you. Pepper?
All right. We talked quite a bit about nonprofits, and the one topic that we settled on really was food insecurity for children. And many of the, one nonprofit that we talked about specifically provides bags and boxes of food for the kids. If they have a bag, they stick it in their backpack and take it home, and the boxes, see some nodding, people know the program. What I did not know is that several businesses have partnered in that space, Amazon Local Goods, Everett Express, because they have found that sometimes they can't get the food to the families in the ways that maybe volunteers provided that service previously, but those corporations have that infrastructure. They've got those buses and vans and trucks to take food where it needs to go. So what we talked about was, how do we gather the decision makers? How do we make those businesses aware who maybe aren't yet taking part? Maybe they make cardboard boxes. Maybe they do some of those other things. How do we as an organization, as a community, educate those businesses and allow them the opportunities to help where help is needed? And then also being able to communicate in Frankfurt, talking about this is food insecurity, children are hungry. How do we help our leaders in Frankfurt know that and do something about it?
Great, thank you. And one more over here.
Hey everybody, I'm Brent Cooper with the Northern Kentucky Chamber. Our table talked a little bit about the corridor of commerce, the need to expand 71 between Northern Kentucky and Louisville with UPS and Amazon and DHL, that ecosystem. We feel like we can leverage that with that expansion. We also talked a little bit about the airport, Larry. Larry and I had a conversation yesterday. We talked about the need to upgrade our, when you travel internationally and you're coming in, you get your bags checked. It's a little bit of a hassle right now. We are talking about trying to make that process better, and that's called FIS. The acronym is FIS. I'll let Larry fill you in on what that acronym means. But Columbus is working on theirs, Cleveland's working on theirs, and if we want more international flights, we want to grow this thing, that is something that we need to lobby on as an example. Then we talked about housing, the need for income-aligned housing solutions for our region, which we've talked endlessly about. And we also talked a lot about childcare and all things workforce. These businesses, for them to succeed, you got to have talent. For talent to come here and for us to be able to support them, we need solutions around housing, childcare, and so forth.
Great, thank you, Brent, and what a great segue into our next session.